So we are live, ladies and gentlemen. We are live tonight, and we have a month left, ladies and gentlemen. So we have a month left, and if you don't know what I'm talking about and you live in the United Kingdom, we're going to be talking about everything Summer of Carnage. We're going to be talking about the Summer of Carnage that's going to be coming this year. We're going to be talking about the potential flashpoints in the United Kingdom. We're going to be talking about the troubles in the Middle East, the brewing conflict in the Middle East. We're going to be talking about the war in Ukraine, how the Ukrainians are still under heavy bombardment from the Russians and how that conflict hasn't gone away. We're going to be talking about all of this, ladies and gentlemen, and do not forget, tomorrow is the solstice. So esoterically, normally, well, not normally, but sometimes things happen on esoteric dates. Remember, tomorrow is the solstice, guys. Now, I need to be clear. I don't have a degree of certainty or a high degree of confidence for tomorrow, but I am putting it out there that it is a solstice, it is a Friday, the world is vastly turbulent at the moment, so there is some likelihood that something will happen tomorrow. But ladies and gentlemen, listen, I have to be quite clear. Donald Trump likes to play the game of, am I going to do something, am I not going to do something? Remember, he's given another 2 weeks. He said, now with Donald Trump, he said, I'm going to give 2 weeks. In fact, do you know what he didn't actually say? He used his press secretary. What's her name? I don't know her name. You know, the lady who gives the press briefings? That's what she was saying. She was saying Donald Trump's going to make his mind up whether he's going to go into, and again, like, when the leaders and the politicians and the heads of state say, I've not decided if I'm going to go into Iran yet. Well, like, I don't think Donald Trump's going to be doing anything. I think he's going to be sending like the U.S. Marines or the U.S. Navy or the U.S. Air Force. They're the guys who are going to be going in. And if any of those aircraft get down, then it's going to be like it'll probably be Delta or SEAL teams that go in and get them. Right, let me jump up and get these comments, guys. So quite a few comments jumped up on the TikTok chat. Few comments on the. On YouTube, we've got Music Remixers saying hi, Raven. Claire, hi. Silly Galadi saying hi. We are going to be talking about all things global today, ladies and gentlemen, but I do want to keep coming back to letting you guys know that we have a month left to prepare in the United Kingdom. Now, whether you think I'm right or wrong, wouldn't it make sense just to err on the side of caution, as always? You know, when you buy your car insurance, right? And I'm not saying anybody doesn't buy their car insurance, but when you buy your car insurance, what do you get from that? I mean, honestly, guys, I've had 2 accidents in my life, both old people crashing into me. The first one, this old lady that crashed into me, she said, oh, I was in a military hire car. She says, oh, I've never hit a soldier before. I was like, all right, okay, fine. She had that many accidents. She had her insurance details on a business card readily printed. The second guy that went into me, I was on a main road. A car was pulling out of a minor road. You know that moment as you're driving and you look at the car pulling out and you think, he's not looked. And I swear, anyway, that's the second time I had an accident. But what do you get out of your car insurance if you don't have an accident? You don't get anything. You know, if you buy food and water and fuel, you've got something there that you can at least feed yourself with. Anyway, guys, let me jump up and get some of these comments. Lots of people joining today. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've not done so already, please hit that like, the follow, and the subscribe button. All the buttons that help the channel grow, as always. Connor, Gigi, Nicholas, Desimone, I think that's the word. Christine, and a load of emojis. Kevin is saying, good evening, guys. Hope you're all well. Jean Pulfrey is saying, good evening, everyone. Your follower, Studio Becky, joined from posts. Oh, okay. Locked and loaded. Any dits for us, Raven? I could listen. I wouldn't be shy of spinning a dit every now and then. Remix Magnus is saying, hi, Raven. Debbie 1973 is saying, hello. Unknown new user. Hi Raven, Sky News looks like America is backing off for 2 weeks. Yeah, we mentioned that earlier, didn't we? We gave this comes from a press briefing. I don't know what her name is. Like, you know, the blonde girl that does the press releases or the press briefings in the United States. In fact, a couple of things happened in that press briefing. We'll talk about the comment first, which it does look like Donald Trump said he's going to make his mind up within 2 weeks. Again, I'm not convinced what is going to happen or what is not going to happen. I don't know what the I don't know what the US Air Force can contribute that the Israeli Air Force are not contributing, other than mass. You know, mass is the only thing that the US can contribute. What are we on, guys, now? Day 6 or is it day 6 or 7? What I would say is happening in Israel right now, in Israel, those aircraft that those guys have been using, I would say that they're running really close to their service schedule, and they're going to need to stop flying at such intensity. So you would see these airstrikes lowering intensity, but still continuing. Remember, they've stirred the hornet's nest now. They need to deal with it one way or another. I'm a music remixers on YouTube, says Remix Madness. Right, let me jump down. Locked and Loaded is saying stock up on bottled water, guys. Listen, I couldn't agree more. You know, bottled water. Like in the United Kingdom right now, and listen, people around the world will be looking in at the United Kingdom and thinking, the UK can't run out of water. And that's true. Because we've always thought like that, we've had years and years and years of misinvestment into the water system, years and years and years of international investment where they're just taking water. And I did a video, like, in fact, do you know what? I'm not going to do it. The garden is just brown. The garden's brown. We have not had rain for such a long time. All the reservoirs are dangerously, well, I mean, what is dangerously low? All the reservoirs are ridiculously low, probably the lowest I've ever seen them. And guys, listen, this is, you know, if we don't get a significant amount of rain soon, there's going to be significant water shortages. Unknown user, Raven, the bunker busters will do that job in Iran and finish off the job. Is that a question? Because you've got the bunker busters. Will that? Right. Okay. So no. These bunker busters that everybody's talking about on the mainstream, guys, they're not gonna have the desired effect. You need, but if you're serious about wanting to stop Iran's nuclear program, you need boots on the ground. You cannot do it from the air. Just going to jump back over to YouTube. Yeah, listen, Michelle Ackers here is saying he said exactly the same thing about Putin, the 2 weeks thing. So if you guys can remember back on the 28th of May, Donald Trump said, I'm going to give Putin 2 weeks and then he best make this peace deal, or I'm going to pull all funding from Ukraine and go and have a war in the Middle East. Did he say that, or did I just imagine that? I can't remember. Maybe he said that. Maybe he didn't. UK Prepper is saying evening to you, buddy. Right, we've got Alex Cullen saying she probably have cash a way to get the repair of cash. She probably have a crash on her way to get repair of cash. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means, Alex, but if you can elaborate, I'll put some more on that. And Silly Gallardi here over on YouTube is saying, if anyone thinks that we Israelis will let Iran send missiles on us for another 2 weeks, they are very wrong. Okay, listen, we've got fighting talk here from Silly Gallardi, and she's in Israel, obviously. So look, ladies and gentlemen, okay, the reality is, and you know, the military aircraft, they do have servicing schedules, and those aircraft, when you're flying them when you're pushing these aircraft hard, and that trip, it's a long trip from Israel to Iran, and you know, it's a long trip. parts wear out, parts break down, you have engine failures, you have electronics failures. These are natural operational things that you need to deal with on the ground. And Solani, sorry, I keep saying her name wrong. Silly Giladi, is saying Israel has a very advanced desalination water system. Water is no problem. So, yeah, can you imagine the absurdity here, guys? Israel in the Middle East has no problems with water, but here in the United Kingdom, surrounded by seas, it rains. Well, usually we have a lot of rain. We have a lot of downpour of rain, and we are looking like a realistic scenario, guys, where we're going to run out of water in the United Kingdom. Now, I don't think that's going to be everywhere in the UK, but I do think we're going to see. I do think in the UK we're going to see the water getting turned off at some point for various locations. Right, I'm going to jump down, guys, because the comment is quite hefty again tonight. Right, so I am jumping down. All right, there's loads of these. Hang on. Right, Knots 420. Have a look on Wales Online. It's about weapon testing that could knock GPS and mobile networks. Can you just elaborate a little bit more on that? If you was on the live stream this morning, we were talking about how GPS guided weapon systems are not as they're not as reliable as they used to be, because GPS can be spoofed. There can be GPS denied locations. So I don't know if that comes into I don't know if that falls in line with what we were saying earlier on today. Or Remix Madness is saying, everyone like, follow, share, and repost. Thank you so much for that, buddy. James, how can they put people on the ground? Republic Guard is 500,000 strong. So the comment there is, how can anyone have boots on the ground when the I think it's the Islamic Republic, it's the IRGC, the Islamic Republic Guard Corps. Yeah, IRGC. So the IRGC, the Islamic Republic Guard Corps, they're claiming to be 500,000 strong. Look, guys, I've seen militaries in this region of the world operate, and I've also seen US military operate, and force on force, like 500,000 Iranian Republic Guard or whatever, they're not really a match for a professional, well-trained army. I did a video like a couple of days ago, guys, saying how I would invade Iran. I would forward operate. I would use Oman as my forward mountain base. Sorry, get that right. I would use Oman as my forward mountain base. I would then send in my US Marines, 101st Airborne, 82nd Airborne. Send them all into Oman. From Oman to the south coast of Iran, it's not very far, guys. The US Navy can do that quite easily. I'm just jumping down and getting more comments. April is saying, evening, or what have I missed? Right, I tell you one thing that you have missed, April. You have missed. I had a cornetto in the freezer. I'm just gonna go and get it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna go and get this cornetto because it is hotter. Right now, it's hotter than an Iranian bunker. Right, I've got said cornetto in my hand, ladies and gentlemen. I've got said cornetto in my hand. I'm just going to open this up as quickly and as eloquently as I can. I've got the bottom bit off. It came off in one because I'm a pro. I've left the top on. Top is now removed. Nice little bit of strawberry, and I'm going to eat this while I'm answering your questions. Oh, okay. I'm just going to pin this. So Sharon Owen is saying, my water pressure was down this morning. Yeah, the water, guys, okay? You live in the United Kingdom. You think water's always going to be there. It's not. Onion user, Raven, why is Trump not either taking action or keeping everyone guessing with his decisions? So It's a stalling tactic. It's a stalling tactic. It's a stalling tactic you do in business, okay? You do these things in business. You get people worried. You get people scared in business. And then when you go into the meeting and you actually have that meeting, they are more, they're a little bit scared of you, and then they want to have that deal. They want to come to your way of thinking because they know you're a little bit volatile. Let me just refocus this camera. Yeah, there we are. Yeah, it's a stalling tactic, guys. It's a stalling tactic. It's a business tactic. You know, that's why Trump's doing it. Oh, Remix Madness, no problem, Raven. Is it true? Please do so, guys. Oh, I don't know. Okay. Moldy is saying, can I be a conscientious objector if I get drafted? Listen, I had a business plan for somebody. I had a business plan the other day for someone, and I said, listen, if you want to make some money right now, right, if I need to caveat this actually, right, this is not business advice, this is just me thinking out loud, all right? So if you think that there's going to be a conflict in the United Kingdom, we're going to have a conflict in Eastern Europe, if you think that, I mean, I do, but there's going to be a ton of stuff that's going to need to be transported from the United Kingdom to Ukraine. Now, you can do that in, like, if you've got a transit van or something, you can literally make that trip. So I would speculate, or I would say, if anybody has a small haulage company, maybe it's worth finding out what big haulage companies have contracts with the UK MOD and approaching them and saying, hey, do you know what? I've got a small haulage company. We do regular trips into Kiev. And we just want to know if you guys have anything you need taken into Kiev. Start small, think big, because and I think it will, but I have to say if this starts, people in the UK are going to need all sorts of stuff taken down, and that's going to be a constant thing, because a war on an industrial scale, what it means is the only thing that matters is how quickly we can get things from our factories, out of our factories into the front line. So, I don't know, guys. Maybe that's one for somebody to think about. Right, I'm going to jump down again, guys, because the chat has gone crackers. Alex Cullen over on YouTube is saying war is stupid. I think they are as well. I think all wars are stupid. I think we could still have our competitivity, but we could go into space, we could go into space, we could have that competitivity, putting a base on the moon, mining asteroids, and becoming, and doing something really cool. Oh, so Silly Gallardi there over on YouTube is saying the real battle we have now in every home in Israel is emotional eating, and your ice cream isn't helping. I am sorry, guys. Listen, it's hotter than an Iranian bunker in here tonight, so I am gonna gorge myself on a little bit of an ice cream. So MLR 420 here on TikTok is saying, long as Ukraine and Russia war continues, then the odds are more likely the UK will be involved. And look, ladies and gentlemen, I've said this all along. I've said it all along, and I'll give you my time frame now of why I said that. But just before I do that, Sean McKay here has put something that I feel like as well. So Sean McKay on TikTok just saying, I feel for people who are still walking about and so naive over the situation. Yeah, I do as well. And you know, people have no idea. People really do have no idea what's how bad things could get potentially. I have to say that. I believe that we're heading towards a global conflict on an industrial scale. Now, I'm going to give you my timelines and why I said them. So, remember, guys, back in 2023, laws were passed in the United States that made it clear that the United States wouldn't tolerate a nuclear-armed Iran. So straight away, and if you know me in my if you guys knew me in my private life, when I was out in Ukraine in 2022, I said, right, guys, by 2025, the United Kingdom is going to have a lead role in, going to be taking the lead role here, guys. You know, that is the reality. So the reason I gave the timelines that I gave for 2025, you've got to understand everything in the world, ladies and gentlemen, whether you want to believe it or not, everything in the world all geopolitical movement, posturing, everything comes from the US election cycle. It does, ladies and gentlemen. Whether we think here in the United Kingdom we're vastly important, the big boys in town is the United States. Nobody's going to attack them for the next 100 years. Like, I can guarantee that. Nobody can attack them for 100 years. And even if they do, like, listen, and I'm not being like, I don't want to sound, this is realistic, guys, all right? I don't think even if the whole world came together and attacked the United States, I think the United States would come out on top. They've got the military, the culture. Like, can you imagine if somebody managed to get through all the Navy, all the Air Force, and then got into the United States? They have I was watching a statistic. They have three, I don't know, it was like a statistic, and it was like how many guns per 100 people, and it was showing you like Sweden, Denmark, all different countries, and it was showing you how many for 100 people. And I think the United States has 120 guns for every 100 people. So, like, even if bad guys did get to the United States, they've got to fight and it's just not going to happen. It's just absurd to think that it's going to happen. But yeah, I do feel for people who are walking around, they've got no idea what's happening. And this is one of the problems when I started talking about immigration, and I was telling people my friend, in fact, I'll give you the anecdote again. I'll wear his glasses while I'm telling you. Hang on. So so my friend who was here the other night, last year sometime, we was at a barbecue at his house, and like a friend of a friend was there, and he was calling me Brexit boy, and he was calling me we was playing poker, and he was calling me gammon. Well, are they upside? Anyway, so he was calling me Brexit boy. He's calling me gammon, and he's throwing the insults my way. We ended up playing poker, and I won these glasses from him. I said, listen, mate, bet's on the table, but I like your glasses. So he put his glasses in, and I won his glasses off him. Anyway, I met him a couple of weeks back, maybe a couple of months back. I can't remember. It probably was a couple of months back. So I met this person now, and the last time we met, he was calling me Brexit boy. He's saying, what? Are you scared the doctors are coming to take your job, Sean? Are you scared of the doctors are coming to take your job? And I was like, right, all right. I didn't rise to it. Now, he works operative word, he did security on a retail outlet. Sorry. The next time I saw this guy, he's been let go, so they don't want to employ him anymore. And the people that they've now employed, English isn't their first language. And guys, listen, he has gone from someone who was calling me Brexit boy to someone who is like an absolute hardliner now. And this is what I'm talking about. And this is what I mean when I say the summer of carnage is coming, and how people are slowly falling into this category whereby people are just not going to care anymore. People are really not going to care anymore. Right, I'm just going to jump down to these comments on TikTok, guys, because there's absolutely loads of them. Right, Knots Raven, ask AI what weapons they're testing in Cenabridge training camp. Right, okay. I'm getting AI involved. Right, okay, I will. Right, hang on. Right, I've got AI, I've got it up now, it's just loading, it's loading up, it's been a bit slow, it's probably working on other caches. What weapons Right, what weapons are the military testing in Cenabridge camp? Recent report. So here we are. This is a bit juicy, ladies and gentlemen. This is a bit juicy. Recent reports indicate that the Ministry of Defence is conducting electronic weapons testing at the Cenabridge training area in Powys, Wales. Specifically targeting drone navigation systems. The tests involve radio frequency jamming, operations designed to interfere with GPS and other navigation systems within a 5-kilometre radius of the camp. These activities are part of efforts to strengthen defence capabilities against drone threats, with testing occurring daily from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., concluding on June the 20th. No specific details about other types of weapon systems being tested were mentioned in the available information. So, right, I'll just weigh into this really quickly, ladies and gentlemen. I'll just weigh into this really quickly. It's already obsolete. It's already obsolete. What they're doing is already obsolete because now the drones are using fiber optic cables. So these smaller quadcopter drones are using fiber optic cables. I mean, this just winds me up because somebody will be getting a lot of money for this. At the height that this is no longer available, that the GPS spoofing or jamming, at the height that this can be delivered, that's not going to have any effect to these larger Shahed type drones. So again, this is the British military investing taxpayers' money into already obsolete technology. And that's the reality, guys. That is the reality. GPS is not going to be used very soon. What you're going to have is AI using visual references. There's already an Israeli company actually called, I can't remember what the Israeli company's called. What's it called? I can't remember, but there's an Israeli company basically, and they've got this little microchip, and they can put this microchip into like a camera. That camera then has AI capability, and that camera can look down and it can say, right, okay, that is that town over there. But I can tell because that's a road. The direction of those roads match this road on the map, and then from that, the AI can tell where it is by the angle of the buildings and stuff. So GPS is already obsolete, guys. GPS, unfortunately, for military applications, is already obsolete. Anyway, let me jump on some. Let me look at some comments on YouTube. So we've got, I don't think any one of the Western countries will join in and Israel will finish the job alone. Iran alone, with the help of the Iranian people, are fed up with the regime within, right? Says Tiligladi, right? Guys, listen, all I will say on that is the sheer numbers. If you want to stop the Iranian nuclear, if you want to stop and you're serious about it, if you want to stop the Iranian nuclear enrichment program, you have to have boots on the ground. And technologically advanced, yes, but the Israeli military don't have the legs to get over to Iran. They don't have the amphibious landing craft. They don't have the logistics basically to get and administer the amount of troops that you would need to get in that region. They just don't have them. Right, okay, sorry, ladies and gentlemen. There's quite a few people said, what's happening in a month? I was talking about this in the beginning. So, guys, listen, I've been talking about the Summer of Carnage coming to the United Kingdom, okay? I'm giving the potential all this is going to start when the 6 weeks holiday starts. So when the 6 weeks holidays start, these are the things that are going to happen. You're going to have kids off school. You're going to have mums and dads off school. You're going to have people drinking. You're going to have people going to barbecues. You're going to have people going to the pub. You're going to have more events, more things happen on the streets, more protests, more counter protests. All this sort of stuff is what's going to be happening when the 6 weeks holidays start, ladies and gentlemen. And the summer of carnage, I believe, will start. It will be in full swing in the 6 weeks holidays. That's when I believe it's going to happen, guys. All right. And we've got a month to go before the 6 weeks holidays. So from now until that date, just get yourselves ready, ladies and gentlemen. Get yourself ready. If you need to be hunkered down somewhere and if you need to hibernate, relocate, evacuate. And then, of course, if things are still bad, you might need to alienate. Kev O is saying, I think Trump realizes how dangerous Iran is, but will probably still strike. So what do we mean by dangerous there? I mean, guys, look, I'm okay. So the real threat to US military, the real threat, I believe, will be if there is boots on the ground. It's not going to be the initial threat because the US Marines, whatever expeditionary force go in there, they're going to wade through that place. They will wade through it, guys. Trust me. They will absolutely wade through. The problem is going to be the insurgency that will inevitably come afterwards. And that's always the biggest problem. Taking the ground is never the problem. It's holding the ground, being able to hold it for a sufficient length of time. And unless you hold that ground for like 40 years, it's going to fall back into bad guys' hands. So unless you, and I'll say that again, guys, okay? So unless you can hold that ground for 40 years, look what happened in Afghanistan. Look what happened in Iraq. It needs to be 40 years, guys, okay? Because that's the minimum time for those kids who are like 5 and under. That's the minimum time for those kids to grow up under that occupational administration and understand that you don't want to fight those because they feel an affinity to that country. Otherwise, it's just gonna go back. You're just gonna go back the way. You're just gonna literally rewind yourselves. Right, James is saying, if the UK joins in, will enemy within the UK attack our... Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to happen anyway, James. So James is saying here, if the UK... And again, listen, guys, I don't believe the UK is going to get involved in this, I don't believe the UK is going to get involved in this conflict in the Middle East. I believe, and I've said since 2023, it's going to be led by the United States with their regional ally, Israel. But if the UK did join in, which I don't see it happening, but if the UK did join in and like helped out with our 3 airplanes that 2 of them don't work and 1 of them you can't put bombs on them and hasn't got any pilots because they're DEI hires. But if the UK did join in, yes, you would see a mass demographic in the United Kingdom just saying, we don't want this to happen. We're going to protest. We're going to do X, Y, and Z. We're going to be chanting stuff. We're going to be turning up everywhere. But be under no illusion, guys, okay? When the United Kingdom when things start to escalate further in Ukraine, that's when we're going to start to see the mass, the potential for mass sabotage events in the United Kingdom. Right, I'm just going to jump up here and try and get some more of these comments. Right, Frankie Gen X is saying, what the month for do we expect? Yeah, so we're talking here, Frankie, we're just talking here about what to expect when the summer holidays start. Remember, guys, okay, people are off school. You're going to get that critical mass. There's protests planned here, protests planned there, protests planned everywhere, and this is when these things predominantly happen. This is when they go from bad to very bad. DAP73 is saying we are in a sleepy village and things are getting bad. Right, DAP, can you elaborate on that? So DAP73 on TikTok is saying we're in a sleepy village and things are getting bad. Can you elaborate what you mean on that? Because We live in a small village as well. We live in a small village. Well, it's not a small village. I'd say it's like an average size village. You know what I'm going to say? It's actually probably like one of the bigger villages. You know, I've gone from small to average to big. You know, there's a shop. There's 2 pubs. There's 2 off licenses. There's a fish and chip shop. So you know, it's not a small village. But I found myself the other day asking someone if they spoke English. Now, I felt a bit rude and I was like, right, do I ask this guy if he speaks English? And then I'm like, well, I don't know if he does, so I don't want to speak to him in English if he doesn't speak English. But then if he does speak English and I'm asking him, like, do you speak English? He's like, well, what do you do? Do you go, excuse me, mate, do you speak English? And then he's like, yeah, I've lived here 50 years. And oh, sorry, mate, I didn't realize. But then if you say, excuse me, mate, do you speak English? And he goes, oh, I'm very sorry, my English is very small. Yeah, you know, you're like, all right, okay, well, just, you see where I'm going with this, guys. You don't know what to say. James is saying, are you in the village, people? I guess we are in the village, people. We are in the village, people. Listen, I love living in a village. I would not want to live in a city. I do love cities, guys. I do. I used to live in Cardiff. I used to live in, you know what? I used to have an apartment in Kiev. That was fantastic. But I couldn't think of having kids in a city. I really couldn't, guys. I couldn't think of having kids in a city. I absolutely couldn't. Right, where are we? Where else was coming there? Right, okay. So the question that I asked. Oh, hang on. Let me do Frankie Gen X first. So Frankie Gen X is saying, hang on. So Frankie Gen X, listen, guys, I will always prioritize questions like this. I will always prioritize questions like this. So Frankie Gen X is saying, do we need things to protect ourselves, our homes and family? I would make sure in everybody's house, and listen, guys, I don't do this often, but I would go with what the government advice is. Make sure you've got 3 days food and water in your house, food, water and fuel. That means, obviously, stuff that you eat. Don't go and do what I see some people do. I was running a course once. I was running a survival course once, right? And I said to the guys, I said, right, okay, the scenario is this. The helicopter's gone down and you're being pursued over this terrain. You've got to meet these checkpoints and you're going to be pursued. So what and you've only got what you can carry on your person. And this guy turned up and he had 3 energy bars. And I said, where's your food, mate? He said, I'm not going to tell you the accent. He had these 3 energy bars. I said, well, what are those? He said, well, that's all I'm going to eat. I said, really? He said, yeah. I said, don't you think you need more? And he said, no, look, they're 2,500 calories each. So I was like, right, okay. In my head, I'm like, right, okay, do I leave him with this? And let him find out the hard way. And if I let him find out the hard way, he will never make that mistake again, which I did. I then asked him, I said, have you got how much? Show me your water. He said, oh, you can survive 3 days without water. I was like, whoa, tough guy, right? I don't mind sending you out. I don't mind sending you out with like limited food costs. Like I fast I try and fast every Friday, like a real fast where the last meal I'll have today will be probably that ice cream, or I might have something later. And the next meal I will have will be Saturday morning. That's a real fast. So, you know, I understand that, you know, fasting is actually good for you. Some people, you know, there's a lot of scientific evidence that says that it's good for you. But with the water, ladies and gentlemen, all right, although some people say you can survive, you know, some people say you can survive 3 days without water. I was stuck in a place in Syria called Ahmouda, and I had 2 liters of water, and I was there for 24 hours. And honestly, guys, I drank that water within like, I don't know, like a couple of maybe 6 hours that water had gone. And what I did is I drank half of it, and then I thought, right, I'm going to leave that. I'm not going to touch it. That is emergency water. And I was looking at it, and I just kept looking at it, and it was so tempting. And then I took the top off and I thought, right, I'm just going to have a drink. And then I started drinking. I was like, I know I shouldn't, but glug, 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 glug. And it all went down the hatch, and I was like, oh, God, I've got no water now. And I was thinking about totally going Bear Grylls and drinking my own things that I can't say on here. But anyway, guys, listen, so I'm saying, make sure you have 3 days food and water in your house. And it's just good practice, guys. It's just, it's just good practice to have 3 days food, water, fuel, and get one of those little battery charger things. Kaz is saying, I can't go 3 hours without fluids. Kane says, I've drank almost 10 litres today. Yeah, guys, listen, when it's hot weather out here, can you imagine now, guys, listen, so this summer, right, just forget global events for a moment. Just imagine there are no global events right now. Imagine there's not a war in Ukraine. Imagine there's not a war in the Middle East. Imagine that it's not looking like the summer of carnage is coming to the streets of the United Kingdom. Imagine none of this stuff's happening, all right? We've still had no rain for like 4 months. The water companies all the reservoirs are pretty much at critical levels. There's not been reinvestment into the water system. You know it. You know the first water company to not be able to supply water. The government say that this is government legislation now, guys. Okay, this is actual government legislation. If you live in the United Kingdom, if your water company can't provide you with running water from the safe running water from the tap, whatever that means, if they can't provide you with that, they have to provide you with a minimum of 10 litres per person per day. That's what they have to provide you. So we did calculations, didn't we? We did the calculations for somewhere like Barnsley in the north of England, in South Yorkshire. Somewhere like Barnsley, if the water went off in Barnsley, that water company would have to provide 1 million litres of water per day. 1 million litres per day. All right, so Barnsley, they're the first ones to go down. Barnsley get their water. But then what happens if, like, I don't know, Newcastle, their water goes off. Right, where are all those water bottles coming from, guys? Where's all that water coming from? You see what I'm saying now, guys? And can you imagine the price of bottled water in the store when this happens? Because you know as well as I do, there's going to be a certain amount of people who have corner shops. They're going to be running out to Aldi. They're going to be bulk buying all that water, and then they're going to be selling it back to you for 10x the price. And can you imagine, guys? All right, and I've seen this, and it's not nice. Can you imagine? You know, your kids are saying, "Mummy, Daddy, I'm thirsty," and there's nothing to give them. I've lived through that. All right, I've lived through that. So, guys, look, I know that was a bit of a rant on water. But anyway, guys, okay. Anyway. Just make sure you've got some, like a bare minimum, make sure you've got some water. Anyway. Oh, okay. So unknown user, I'm just going to pin that there from unknown user because I don't know. I'll have a look online to see if I can find anything like that. But if it's not collaborated by mainstream media, I can't talk about it. Ty Tiraga, oh goodness. Hang on, I can't pronounce this name. Triggermanu UA. Sorry, that was so easy. I didn't read it right. I do apologize. So Triggerman UA is saying, with the current decimated state of the United Kingdom defence, surely national service and civil defence is imminent. Okay, so so this is a contentious one, guys, okay? And it's kind of one of those things where we're talking about it's like potato, or do you like potatoes, or do you like boiled or mashed potatoes? Do you like bread or toast? So national service is when you do something for the community. It doesn't have to be a military service. So national service would be when you could go and, you may work in a factory, you may work for the community, you may do something that, that helps the community. So in that context, now, do I think that British people are going to be press ganged to join the military? And we're going to start to see, and we're going to start to see things like, no, it's not right. Okay, so hang on. Right, silly Gallardi. I'll come on to the water gen company in a moment. You do get a lot of innovations out of Israel. I'll give them that. A lot of tech comes out of Israel as well. A lot of really good tech. Anyway, guys, listen. So, where was we going with that? So national service in the United Kingdom. I don't think anybody in the United Kingdom right now is going to be, forced to join the military and sent to the front line. I don't see that coming. Now, this all comes down to the role that Britain is going to play in this conflict. Now, again, if we consider that Britain is going to take the lead role in this conflict in Eastern Europe, that would mean that they're at the front. Now, if you're at the front, you're doing quite a potent job. You can't afford to have your troops diluted, and you can't afford to have your troops not motivated. So it just wouldn't work at this point. But if that did happen, I know where there's lots of men of fighting age who could be very useful. National service. Hang on. Sean McKay is saying national service under Starmer is serving and protecting your own family. Do you know what? I think that is a fantastic comment as well. And a lot of people ask me, they say, Sean, if you were to have your time again, would you join the military? And I honestly, guys, it's a very difficult question for me. I love the military. I joined the military when I was 16. Looking back, it was probably far too young, but I did. When I left the military, like the experience and the knowledge that I had, it just, it opened so many doors for me that just wouldn't have been available. And even now when I do things, I know I'm doing them because of what's the word I'm looking for, like ethos and things that have been installed in me. Like, for example, when I go to the gym, I will always make sure I meet a minimum standard. I shout at myself, I swear at myself when I'm running. I go bonkers in there, because I want to keep that standard. And I look around and I see that, like, I'm a very, and then the rest, a lot of other veterans are the same. But yeah, so it's a very difficult question for me. Would I do it again? Oh, Top Nature Boy is saying wages. Hang on, let me pin that. Yes. The wages are terrible in the military, guys. The wages are embarrassingly bad in the military. I mean, can you imagine? Let me think of it. Can you imagine, right? Can you imagine working 24/7 for 6 months? Like even at minimum wage, you'd be in for a lot of money. So it's very difficult for me to give that. But again, when you join the military, you don't do it for that. You don't do it for the money. Although you shouldn't. Although you don't join the military for the money, but equally you shouldn't have to struggle financially as well. Right, guys, listen, let me go and get a bottle of water because it is hotter. It's hotter than Keir Starmer's closet in here. Oh. Right, Aslin Farm's wife. Guys, I am going to come on to this. Right, let me do this. So, what is the month for? So, ladies and gentlemen, listen, guys, if you're just joining for the first time and you just jumped on and you're wondering what the status of this live stream is, It is critical now. We have 1 month left. We have 1 month left, so that would be 1 month before I think everybody needs to be ready for the Summer of Carnage. Now, again, guys, listen. Hopefully I'm wrong and there's no protest. The water's fine. There's no food shortages. There's no mass sabotage events. But you know what? Isn't it better to be just a little bit prepared? So what I'm saying is, guys, you have 1 month left now before the 6 weeks holidays, because in my head, psychologically, in my head, that's when I want the bug out car ready. It's when I want all the food restocked in the basement. Oh, basement? Cellar. Get out of my tongue, you American slang. I want all the fresh food in the cellar, you know, and I want to go into the 6 weeks holidays knowing that we've got we've got quite a lot over 3 days food and water, but knowing we've got a sufficient amount of food, water and fuel, knowing that we can lock down in our house, knowing that all my friends and family know to get themselves over to my house if something goes wrong. Like, everybody knows that's what I'm aiming for by the time the 6 weeks holiday starts. And again, I know everybody's going to be different. I know people are different. I know people are in different situations. But that's what I'm saying, guys. Okay, we've only got a month left. Now let me drink this bottle. Wow, that's cold. Oh. So yeah, that would be what the 1 month is, guys. Okay, 1 month before the 6 weeks holidays, and after that, I believe it's all going to go bonkers. Right, Dappy's saying, have you ever been to the Tank Museum in Dorset? No, I haven't, but I've been to lots of military ranges in Dorset, and Devon and Dorset. Right, I'm just jumping down now, guys. I'm just jumping down to get these comments. Oh, hang on. There's a comment on... somebody's just put, don't forget... Oh, and Silly Gallardi over in Israel has just put, don't forget toilet roll. Yeah, don't forget toilet roll. Don't forget toilet roll. And something to poop in. Something to poop in, because if we're all stuck in the cellars, can you imagine it? If we're all stuck in the cellars, you know, we're all hiding in our cellars and we're like, where are we gonna? So it's been 2 days and no one's gone yet. It's been 2 days and no one's gone yet. Is it worth, like, who's going to be the first one? So yeah, you know, toilet facilities. That's another big one that a lot of people pay lip service to. We've got one of those. I don't know if you guys have seen them from Go Outdoors. It's like a bucket. It's like a bucket toilet. But anyway, that's what we've got. Right, just a quick comment over here. In fact, 2 comments actually from 2 comments over here from YouTube. Our military cannot go and fight the Russians. We need them here to help us with the invasion of boat people, saying from now. Listen, I think this is all connected. I do. I think this is all connected. And I do think I'm seeing signs, guys. I am seeing signs that the United Kingdom could become part of the United States by 2030. And I am seeing all these signs that this could actually happen. Colin Stedman is saying, if you think of it, it looks like a rerun of 1976. Government crashing the economy, Iran-Israel conflict, other conflicts in the world, and the prediction of the summer of carnage and the winter of discontent. Did somebody predict the summer of carnage in 19? Let me Google this. Let me Google a bit. Let me grok it because it's open. Right, Grok's taking a long time to look at this, so Grok's thinking there. He's just put there. He's just put there. Grok has literally just put there. Oh, there are no records. Right. Okay. So okay. So it doesn't appear in any historical records, but you know. Right, Aslin Wife Farm is saying, Raven, we are going on holiday. Oh, right. Yes, you'll be okay in Spain. Look, guys, I'm not a holiday rep. I don't know if you're gonna go on holiday around the Middle East. All right, literally around that Middle Eastern area. So you've got like Cyprus. I would struggle. I would struggle going to Cyprus and Egypt. And I wouldn't be struggling because I'd be scared of bad guys. I'd be struggling because I think there's a high potential of the airspace getting closed. The airspace getting closed. Oh, Mode Toad, a good question here that we don't often get. Where is it? Right, where is it? Where's Mode Toad? Right, Mode Toad has just put right, here we are. Right, Mo Toad, you have just sparked something in me. I saw an article that Rachel Reeves is being urged to give universal basic income to the elderly or something. Let me Google this, guys. So listen, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, right? There was a lot of stuff flying around the internet about the governments, the people, or whatever. They're wanting to they're trying to push people onto universal basic income. Now, universal basic income in the United Kingdom is £1,600 per person per month. This is being trialled in two locations, in two places in the UK. It's a 2-year trial. So after that trial, they're gonna see if it was worthwhile or not. So if you think that all these new people coming to the United Kingdom are not contributing anything to the United Kingdom, do you know what they would be really good at? They'd be really good spenders. So you could give them £1,600 a month to spend. That £1,600 a month would then be put into the economy. It could be taxed. It would keep the wheels churning. It would keep the wheels churning, and that would bring in the new financial system. Because, guys, look, the whole West is in late stage capitalism. We are in late stage capitalism. And by late stage capitalism, what I mean is all the business capacity is owned by a few companies. When I used to go around on the investment circuit trying to get money for investment, a lot of the investors that would invest in your company, they would want your ex. So what they would do is they would invest in your company, they would build your company, then they'd sell your company to a bigger company. So say that you were in defense. If I say that you're in tech, so if you have a tech product, and it's a good product, it's earning money, the investors will build it, and sell it to Google or sell it to, someone else, Meta or whatever, and then they get their money, everybody makes some money, but the market becomes smaller because you're no longer a competitor in that market. The same with defense, guys, the same with everything. You try and start a business now in the United Kingdom, forget about it, guys. Forget about it. There's taxes, there's legislation. If you want to employ somebody, you've got to pay even more taxes. And you know what? So if you want to take all those risks, that's fine. That's on you. But if you're successful and you make some money, the government will tax you for it. But you know what? If you lose that money and that's your money and you've lost it, too bad. That's on you. But yeah, so I think by 2030, the financial reset will have appeared. Right, I'm going to jump down again, guys. Now I'm going to jump down because I do want to keep this live stream to about an hour because I've got stuff to do in the house and I've literally got work. Can you guys remember last night when I was the other night when I was on? In fact, I think it was last night, and I had 16 missed messages on my 16 missed messages. Hang on. Oh, hang on. Right, no. They're just saying thank you because I had a load of documents I had to do today. I've had to send them off. I sent them off just before I started on this live stream, and I said, "Hey guys, can you have a look through these documents? Can you have a look through these documents and just let me know?" And I was hoping that by the time they look through them, they get back to me. They're just saying thank you. Anyway, yes, and you lied. I were at the gym. Yes. Oh. Keyring, do you go to the same gym as me? Keyring is saying yes, and you lied. I were at gym. Keyring, do you go to the same gym as me? Because you will definitely see me. If you go to the same gym as me, you will definitely see me having OCD, having to use the 5th treadmill from the right. So if you go into the gym, you look at the treadmills on the right-hand side in front of the mirrors. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the one I have to use. I can't use any other treadmill. Keyring, do you go to the same gym as me? Come and say hi, brother. If you do, I don't know if you do, but yeah, I do get OCD, and I definitely shout at myself in the mirror. Right, I'm looking for Keyring to throw another. Right, I don't know if he's there or not. I think Keyring might have gone, but I hope he goes to the same gym as me. Right, Ryan is saying, what Islamic country will be the first to support Iran? Well, we already know the answer to that. It's Pakistan. Pakistan came out within days of the conflict starting. Pakistan said, you know, we're gonna stand behind Iran. And also what he said is, I think it was the Pakistani defense minister. The Pakistan defense minister said. He was calling for all Muslim nations to unite. So that's what the Pakistani defense minister said. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Pakistan, I can quite easily answer that question. Oodles of Noodles is saying, hi, Raven. Listen, it's my fasting day tomorrow, so I'm not going to be eating all day tomorrow. So I may indeed go and have a pack of noodles. James is saying, so basically everybody in limbo if it's a biblical war breaks out while Trump eats McDonald's. Yeah, so Trump's on Air Force One eating McDonald's. You know, he's going to be cruising around eating McDonald's before he decides whether we're having a biblical war or not. Listen, this morning on the live stream, somebody said, watch out for a missile accidentally hitting the Alaska mosque where is the Alaska mosque? Because I know it's an area of contention. Where is? Right, let me just Google this, guys, because Yeah, so the Alaska Mosque is in the right. Okay, so let me just read this, guys. Okay, the Alaska Mosque is located in the old city of Jerusalem, specifically on Temple Mount, also known as Haram al-Sharif. It sits on the southeast corner of the old city, covering approximately 1/6 of its area. So somebody was saying to me, you know, the Alaska Mosque could get hit by a bomb, and then that could mean the building of the 3rd temple. So I don't know if this is a thing, guys. I don't know if this may happen. It may not happen, you know, and realistically, you know, and Paulie over on TikTok is saying it needs demolished. It needs demolished. I don't know. I wouldn't know if it needs demolished. It might need refurbishing. It might need a lick of paint. I don't know. But what they were saying is, you know, bringing this down could lead to the building of the 3rd, I think, Solomon's 3rd temple. And that would mean the coming of the Antichrist, end of days, biblical prophecy coming true. Now, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know whether this is true, and I am 50-50. I'm 50-50 whether this is biblical prophecy coming through and we are literally living in the end times, or people following biblical prophecy because they know they'll get a degree of support for it. I am literally 50-50. A London Voice is saying, so what's happening here? A London Voice, we have been talking about everything. We've been talking about end times, summer of carnage, Middle East conflict, the conflict in Eastern Europe. We've probably got some slurs in there about Keir Starmer, and all sorts of stuff. We mean nothing to the big fish as long as they're down Warren where we're 100% happy. Right. Couple of comments on YouTube, guys, and we'll start to close these down. Yeah, John Giles. First, so John Giles, I think I've just answered the question. I think I've just answered that question. And then Silly Gladi over on YouTube is saying Israel is protecting the Alaska Mosque and the wall was almost hit in April. Listen, wouldn't it be a strange turn of events? Wouldn't it be, guys? Listen, wouldn't it be a strange run of events if an Iranian missile hit the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem? Wouldn't that be a peculiar turn of events, whereby we literally now have the Iranians ushering in the beginning of the end days? London Voice again, he says, so what do you think is going to happen to Iran? Okay, so just for London Voice, so I think London Voice may be joining, you may not have joined us, you may not have followed my channel, but London Voice, what I've been saying for a long time is US boots on the ground in Iran, March 2026. Now, that's the earliest that it can happen by my analysis. That's the earliest it can happen. And I'm not going back on that. I still think that is a good likelihood that that's going to happen. A few reasons for this. First of all, you can't stop the nuclear program from the air. It's just not feasible, guys. It is not feasible to stop the nuclear program from the air. So you need boots on the ground. And the only country with that logistical support to put those boots on the ground is the United States. The Israelis, they don't have the how would the Israelis get their soldiers from Israel to Iran? They don't have the logistics to support that, guys. You know, they just don't have sophisticated, yes, well motivated, yes. Look how big Iran is, guys. You need a lot of people for that conflict. I would speculate that force would be a minimum of 600,000, guys. Okay, 600,000. Think about the food, the water, the fuel, the vehicles that the life support that you're gonna need to support 600,000 people. K-Ring, do you go to the same gym as me? Because you just did a comment earlier, and I think you may go to the same gym as me. Oh no, they're joking. They're joking. Right, okay. Right, James, will there be a Black Swan event? A Black Swan event by definition is a Black Swan event, and we don't know what it would happen. But if there is to be a Black Swan event, or an event that's coming soon that drags the US into this conflict, I'm going to say it's the USS Nimitz being struck, being sunk, going down in a blaze of glory. Take me down in a blaze of glory. Oh, I never shoot first, but I drew first blood. I'm the devil's son. I think that's how that song goes. I don't know, guys. I don't know. It was Bon Jovi. I was trying to do Bon Jovi. But yeah, we're talking about Black Swan events. Is there going to be a Black Swan event? Of course, nobody knows. My money would be on USS Nimitz, which is a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier. It was due to be decommissioned last March, I think, this year. They've extended its life until April next year. I'm just going to speculate, guys. My money would be on the USS Nimitz to be hit by something, taken down, and then the United States are like, let's go give those Iranians some freedom. Right, I'm going to jump down, guys, and get these last comments because I'm just conscious that the time is swizzling on. Off Grid is saying, conveniently, both the Ford and the Nimitz carrier strike groups will be in theatre in 2 weeks. Yeah, again, the Nimitz for me, because it was due to be retired, it's just shouting alarm bells. Oh, and K-Ring is saying, I'm in Lancashire, War of the Roses, I don't go to your gym. Right, okay, sorry, I don't know. Listen, guys, I don't know. People look at me strange in the gym. They do. When I'm in the gym, people look at me strange. I don't know if it's because they might have watched a video or something that I've done, or whether they just think, who is that nutter with fantastic hair dripping in sweat, shouting at himself in the mirror? I don't know what it is. Right, guys, listen, I am going to close this TikTok down now. Oh, hang on. So Google is saying, Sean, you said the earliest invasion that the US would be March 2026. Are you rethinking? No, I'm not rethinking. Like the earliest that it can be. The earliest it can be in my eyes is March 2026. To build up that amount of troops in that region, it's going to take at least 3 months, guys. It's going to take at least 3 months. So let's go back 3 months from March. So that means like the end of this year, you need to start putting your first boots into, you need to start putting your first boots on the ground in Oman. From there, you can give them, pre-deployment training, acclimatization training, new weapons training. You can start bombarding that south coast, softening it up, making it all ready for those troops to go in and make a beachhead. But anyway, guys, anyway. Right. Right, Silly Gallardi over on who's in Israel is saying, just to let everyone know, there was no surprise from Iran last night. So that is what I said. Remember when we was on the stream last night, guys, and people were saying, what do we think it is? And I said, listen, I genuinely think, and again, all these videos are open source. I said, look, I genuinely think that this is just, it's just them blowing stuff in the air. I don't think the Iranians can give a surprise that people are gonna recognize for the next century. But anyway, guys, that is right. The crux of this live. I'm going off on myself, guys. I need to close it down, not open up new conversation topics. The crux of this video, guys, the crux of this live is we only have 1 month left before everybody. Oh, and Glitch, thank you so much for your continued subscription, buddy. Thank you so much. Listen, we will be back on tomorrow morning for the subscribers only chat, and I have to do that, guys, because like the chat now, it's gone absolutely bonkers. But guys, listen, I'll be back on tomorrow morning. Remember, we only have 1 month left now in the United Kingdom before the summer holidays, and before everybody needs to have at least some water, some food, a little bit of fuel in their houses, and get ready for the summer, because it does look like it's going to be a hot one. Right, guys, I'm going to turn this off. I'll be over on YouTube for a couple of minutes, and I will see you guys in the morning. And we are off. We are off, and we are just streaming on YouTube now. Guys, it's so difficult doing two. It's so difficult doing two platforms at the same time. I am going to be streaming on X as well. I'm going to try and start streaming on X. And again, that is a swizzle. It's an absolute swizzle. So I'm going to have like 3 screens with three chat boxes. But you know what, guys? I can deal with it. Do you know what? I've worked in high pressure environments before. I thrive. Anyway, guys, listen. So I am going to close this down as well now. Okay, I'm just going to stay on for a couple of minutes. Just everybody be conscious about these sleeper cells, right? Like, if anybody thinks that they're like, it's well understood that in the United Kingdom we have more migrants in hotels than we have soldiers in barracks. That's a well-known documentation. I've been warning about the potential of sleeper cells, saboteurs, agent provocateurs, tatushkas, if you want to use the Russian. And when we move into this, whatever it's going to be, hang on, guys. When we move into whatever this is going to be, normally when we talk about sabotage is usually when a military uses non-conventional troops to take out another piece of military equipment. That's not what's going to happen here. So there's going to have to be a new name for it, and there's going to have to be a new doctrine, because what's going to happen is, I would speculate that these people in the hotels could be paid to go and commit criminal acts. I mean, I don't think I'm being controversial saying if they came into this country illegally, they've already broken the law. I don't think that's controversial, guys. I don't think that's controversial. So if people come into the country and the first thing they do when they get in the country is break the law, They're criminals. So by definition, they are criminal gangs. Now, there's probably going to be some liberals out there saying, oh, but they're fleeing war. They're fleeing persecution. Right, okay. And there was the guy on, remember the guy on the TV the other day and he said, the majority of people coming off the boats are women and children and little babies and little babies, little beautiful babies coming out from little prams and all the women and children. But like the audience just started shouting at them, didn't they? But so like we do get like in the United Kingdom, we're getting a lot of young fighting age men turn up on our shores every day. And, it's all it's going to take is a little spark. Maybe maybe a leader in Iran saying, you know what, everybody needs to rise up and, do whatever in line with this prophecy or whatever, but that needs to, that needs to be understood and accepted, I think, because it's all well and good everybody open and pointing to Farage thinking, oh, Farage is going to save us, we'll all vote reform and that'll sort it. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, this may be news to everyone, but it ain't going to stop nothing. It's not going to change a thing. Nothing will change unless what we need in the United Kingdom is a totally new system, because the system that we've got right now, it's clearly not working. Everybody's talking about stopping the boats. Everybody's talking. I mean, listen, guys, let's be real for a minute. I'm going to be real. You're feeling me? Like remember when Keir Starmer, like the other day, he's saying we're going to have everybody out of the hotels. So, like, where are those people going to go? Where are those people going? Do you think these new houses that they're building? Do you think do you think there's any correlation between pledging to take people out of hotels and building new houses? Do you think there's any correlation there, guys? Listen, we're in for a wild time in the United Kingdom, and I do think as wild as it sounds, guys, we could see scenes this year like that would make last year. That would literally make last year look like kids at a playground. Right. Carolina is saying, Carolina Ritchie just jumped over. Hello. Saying, I reckon the sleeper cells have already got their time frame and orders. Yeah, so that is one way that you could do it. You could, again, I don't know how these people operate. Maybe they're using the Russian doomsday radio. Maybe they're waiting for the sinking of the USS Nimitz. Maybe they're waiting for the United States to strike Iran. I don't know, but there'll be something. There'll be some triggers that happen, and and that's how it moves. But you could give these people orders before they even got into the United Kingdom. So, for example, you could say, I don't know, what date is it today? The 19th. So you could say to people, right, on the 20th of June, you will go and destroy that water pumping station. On the 21st of June, you will go and set fire to this substation. If you can choreograph that and coordinate it so that you've got now teams independently working with no communication from base, from a command unit, it's very hard to identify, and it's very hard to mitigate against. Right, Sharon Owen is saying, I saw a guy who works at Dover on TikTok. I used to live in Dover, actually. I saw a guy who works at Dover on TikTok saying there are a lot more people coming over than they're telling us, he said. These blokes are very angry young men. Yeah, so one of the things I said as well is, like if you want to smuggle things over to the United Kingdom, I would say that the smuggling gangs know when boats are going to get intercepted, and they know when boats are not going to get intercepted. Like when I was in Dover, this was like, I think I left Dover in I want to say 2004, but it might have been 2005. I can't remember. It was a long time ago. But people used to tell us then in Dover, there's a, let me try, do you know what, it doesn't, there's a pub, I'm just going to, while I'm talking, guys, I'm just going to, pub Right, so there's a pub in Dover, and it's like right on the south coast. I don't know what it's called, guys. I don't know what it's called. Basically, every Friday before we went on leave, we do a big tab, and we'd like a forced march with heavy kit, and we'd always end up at this pub. We'd have a few pints, and then there'd be trucks taking us back to the base, and then people go on leave. They used to tell us at that pub, because it was right there on the beach, that mornings they'll wake up and they'd see like a boat coming in, and the boat would just run itself aground, and people would just get out and walk and like go. So I would speculate that sort of stuff is still happening. So, you know, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if there was already a sufficient number of munitions already in the United Kingdom. I'm talking explosives, firearms. I'm talking drones. People who can fabricate kinetic drones with bombs on them. Basically, I think all that's already in the United Kingdom, guys. And I do think it's already in the wrong hands. Gaz B is saying that Labour MP becomes the first to quit over benefits cuts. Right, okay, let's have a look at this quickly then. Government whip quits over disability benefits cut. Disability benefits cut over disability benefits cut. Labour MP Vicky Forecroft has resigned as a whip over the government's plans to cut disability benefits. You see, the reason I think they're cutting this disability benefit is I think there's a lot of people who are claiming this, and this is the problem. Hang on, I've got to be careful what I say, because I don't want to be inflammatory. I'm just going to search for something here quickly, guys. Right. So I was watching an interview earlier, and the MP, it was the MP for Bradford, and the MP for Bradford was giving statistics of how many people in Bradford claimed these sort of benefits. I'm just reading you this now, guys, off the internet. In Bradford, the number of new PIP, so that's personal independence claimants, more than doubled in the year leading to 2022, with 382 new claimants compared to 136 the year before. By July 2020, there were 30,000 individuals in Bradford entitled, representing a significant portion of the 2.7 million people across England and Wales receiving the benefit. Furthermore, a separate report indicates that Bradford East, 12% of the working age population was claiming PIP, which would be the disability benefits. So, guys, look, take from those statistics whatever you want. I don't know, maybe it's people in Bradford, they've just got hard lives and they work that hard that they get injured or whatever, I don't know, but there's a huge percentage, you know, in certain communities. So you guys think about whatever you guys want. That is the statistics. Yeah. So this is this is the negative thing here. So Monocrop here is saying, I know a few people that could have benefited from disability benefit. Now they won't because of fraudsters and scammers. Yeah, it's always the case, isn't it? You know, fraudsters and scammers, they take advantage of liberal systems that are there to protect the vulnerable. They exploit them, and then we have to stop the systems. And then ultimately, it's always the vulnerable that suffer. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, listen, I'm going to go now. You guys have been fantastic as always. If you've not done so already, please hit the like, the subscribe, the follow button, and like those ones down there. I don't even know what they are. Anyway, guys, I'll be back on tomorrow morning at 10. And I know I literally say this every morning, every night, but hopefully hopefully tomorrow will be the day when we are triple streaming.